Hello, hello, and welcome to 5P Designs. I'm Valerie. Today we will be working on items for my tiered tray. Just to be honest, it was still decorated for Easter. Kind of forgot about it, looked at it the other day and realized it's June, definitely time to change things up. So the first piece I'm working on is a wood burning project. I am not an expert at wood burning. I honestly don't really know what I'm doing. I just keep at it until I like the way it looks. Sometimes I change tips. I don't really know what each tip is used for, but it's a work in progress. I'm sure I'll get better. This is just a scrap piece of wood. I did an outline of a honeybee, and I'm just gonna keep trying different things and we'll see how it turns out. Now in this section you see I'm kind of using the side of the tip to add a little bit of shading. Again, I'm just experimenting and seeing what looks good. Here I switched to a pointy tip. I'm going to try and add some detail to the wings, the little veining that you see. I don't know what the technical term for that is, a honeybee, but regardless, you'll see what I'm doing, just adding some little lines, just very random, so we get some nice texture. That was a hard word to say. Skipping ahead a bit because this is slightly tedious to watch on video, I'm sure. I just switched to a different tip that seemed to work for the little hair details on the bee, so I'm just adding that all over the bee until I think he looks nice and fuzzy and happy. Next up, I found this absolutely adorable fabric from Dollar Tree, little honeybees on it. I love it so much. This jar was, I don't know, from some sort of jam or something, and I saved it because I liked the shape that it had. And I'm going to be using a decoupage medium, not the Fusion Mineral, changed my mind. I'll be using the Mod Podge. I think I got this one at Dollar Tree. You can get it at any craft store, of course. So I just cut a strip of fabric to fit the jar. I made sure the bees were the right side up. I didn't want upside down bees or horizontal or, sideways. So measured that out and just painted on the decoupage, applied the fabric, and then I put another coat over the top of that. On to our third component of the tray. I happen to have this tiny little pot on hand. It was already painted gold. Then I had this lid from a candle and it happened to fit the pot perfectly. So I decided to make a little honey pot. So I'm just taking a Sharpie marker and writing honey pot on that. And then I will be painting the lid gold. It's not exactly the same shade, but it works. So I'll give that a few coats and then we have ourselves a super adorable tiny little honey pot. Moving on to project number 4, I have this piece of a Dollar Tree sign. I just dismantled it and I'll be painting it with Folk Art chalk paint. It's just a nice little tan color. You do need to smooth out the staple marks in the board, so just use a little sandpaper. I didn't go for perfect, I went for rustic, which is kind of my theme usually. Now I did lose some footage. The honey you see on there, I just used that little transfer from Chalk Couture, and I will leave a link in the description box if you'd like to purchase those. Very simple to use, and you'll see me adding the hive onto the end of the sign. In the corner you see me doing something. All I'm doing is just putting the transfer onto a cloth to remove the extra sticky so that it doesn't pull up the chalk paint from my sign. So just position it where you'd like it, and then you take a squeegee and apply the Chalk Couture paste, or you can use DIY paint. I often use that as well. That's actually what I use for the word honey. Just smooth it on and pull off your transfer, and you're all done. Easy, easy, easy. Next, I'm just dry brushing on a little of the gold paint that I used for the honey pot, just here and there, just till I like the way it looked. Nothing too precise. Fifth project, I believe. This is a glass jar that I've had for a really long time. I love the design on it, but you can't really see it that well, so I decided to use some DIY paint in White Swan. I'll give the jar a few coats of paint, and then I'll just wet distress where the design is to bring it out a little bit, and then we should be able to see it a little bit better, and it matches my tiered tray theme perfectly. Project number 6, I am using a lid from a peanut butter jar, Bob's peanut butter jar, and some jute. I don't know where I got this. I think actually Home Depot. Some hot glue, and all I'm going to do is use the lid to form the base of what I believe is called a skep, if my mother is correct. And I'm just going to glue around and around and around and around till it's the height that I want, and then I will gradually start bringing it in to curve the top, and then I'll just tuck the tail end of the jute into that. It's kind of a long process. Just take your time. Don't burn your fingers. I'm not going to film the whole thing because probably would be a bit boring, but I think you understand. There we go. Skipping ahead. See what I've done there? And then I'll just keep going and curving it in. For the hole in the front, I first tried this Sharpie marker here, but it wasn't really working all that well, but it at least got the outline of what I wanted. So when I realized it really wasn't going to do the job very well, I switched over to my trusty DIY paint and used that to darken up the hole. I love how cute this turned out. I arranged everything with some greens that I had on hand, some moss from the Dollar Tree, and some other odds and ends that I had lying around, and I just think it looks super adorable and it's exactly what I wanted. Now the placemat that you see under the tiered tray is more of the fabric that I used earlier, and then I just glued on some burlap ribbon and made a little placemat. I just thought it needed a little pop of color on the bottom, and that worked out perfectly.